US President Donald Trump has stated that US colleges will struggle without Chinese students. This comes amid backlash after he suggested he could let 600,000 Chinese college students into the country as part of trade talks with the economic rival. Meanwhile, Guo Jiakun, a spokesperson for China's foreign ministry, has now stated that China hopes that the US would follow through on Trump's statements on welcoming Chinese students and then stop the quote-unquote unprovoked harassment, interrogation and deportation of Chinese students. Listen to what Trump has to say.
Well, we think we're getting along very well with China. And I'm getting along very well with President Xi. I think it's very insulting to say students can't come here, because they'll go out and they'll start building schools and they'll be able to survive it. But I like that their students come here. I like that other countries' students come here. And you know what would happen if they didn't? Our college system would go to hell very quickly. You'd have, and it wouldn't be the top colleges. It would be colleges that struggle on the bottom. And you take out 300,000 or 600,000 students out of the system. I like having, and I told this to President Xi, that we're honored to have their students here. Now, with that, we check and we're careful and we see who's there, and Marco wants that. We're in the same position. But we have a tremendous college system, the best in the world, nobody even close. That's why China sends them here. And you can call it an industry if you want, but you're talking about millions of people. And I'm honored to have the students from China come here, and we're just getting along very well with China. And it's a different relationship than we had for years, where they took hundreds of billions of dollars, just sucked it right out of our country. They respect us again, I respect them.
All right, there, of course, we've heard what Donald Trump has had to say. Professor Nalapat still with us on the broadcast. What we've just heard is Trump making a 180-degree U-turn as far as his approach towards foreign students, especially Chinese foreign students, is concerned. Is this an example then of Trump finding it a little difficult to balance trade and economic considerations, especially since China does have a lot of control over rare earths, with his promises that he made to the MAGA base?
Look, the fact of the matter is that China is not just looking for trade. China is looking for world domination at the expense of the United States. And that's complete anathema to the MAGA base. And they're obviously reacting. The fact is that Trump can get 600,000 students, good students, for example, Indian students. Why doesn't he mention them? The tech industry in the United States runs on Indian Americans and Indian students, and Indian people who come there for work. And it contributes trillions of dollars to the US economy. So something is, he's got a very soft corner towards President Xi. He's got a very soft corner towards China, probably because he doesn't read Mandarin. He doesn't read the Chinese dialects. You'll find that in social media in China, all over the place, there's utter venom against him, and they're making fun of him. They're making fun of him in so many different posts. So I think we must excuse his ignorance, since he doesn't know Mandarin, he doesn't know any of the dialects in Chinese. He doesn't know how much the Chinese people whom he respects, Xi Jinping. By the way, the party has very tight control over social media in China. It doesn't do anything without going through the party seal, as it were. So Donald Trump is blissfully unaware of all the rubbish that's being spread about him. And it really baffles me how we can call President Xi a good friend. President Xi is out to replace the United States, displace the US. Is that what President Trump wants?
Indeed. Thank you so much, Professor Nalapat, for joining us on the broadcast today.